organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, wild winter weather. We'll tell you what you need to know about the impending snowstorm.
And downtown vacancy, what are the plans for an empty retail location right on Clinton Street?
And in sports, the temperature outside may be dropping, but the Iowa sports scene is heating up. A whole lot of black and gold athletics on the deck.
That's all coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning into Thursday's edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Kelsey Clemmy.
And I'm Ian Martin. What's on everyone's minds and coats today is the so-called Snowstorm Q. The storm expected to hit much of the Midwest has already moved an Iowa basketball game back to Saturday. Well, we moved our Nick Safransky out to Hubbard Park this afternoon to put this February blizzard into context. Nick?
Thanks, Ian. As you can see, I'm standing here at Hubbard Park, and the snow hasn't come down yet, but it looks like it's going to be coming down pretty soon. So let's take a look at the forecast for tonight and overnight. Thursday's storm tonight is going to be bringing about 6 inches of snow with wind gusts up to 15 to 20 miles per hour with a low of 23 degrees. And for those of you who are expecting class to get canceled tomorrow, it really doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility. So in case you were wondering, the last 2 times class has been canceled at the University of Iowa, February 2nd in 2011, wind gusts reached 35 miles per hour and there was 12 inches of snow. December 9th in 2009, class was canceled due to icy conditions. So it doesn't look like it's going to match up to that, so hopefully don't expect class to be canceled. But it doesn't mean you have to be careful though on the road. So be careful. I'm going to head in, send it back to you guys.
University of Iowa students and staff who applied for gun permits in recent years may have had personal information shared with local law enforcement. According to a Des Moines Register report published Thursday, the university has been sharing information usually protected by the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act with the Johnson County Sheriff. Officials from the UI are claiming no wrongdoing, saying the right to privacy is often waived by a form signed by those applying for permits. Some info revealed could include bad grades or incidences of depression and anger. Read more on the issue in tomorrow's Daily Iowan.
And a site on Clinton Street that most recently was a hub for a pop-up shop is again vacant. But that doesn't mean it's going to sit empty for long. Our Whitney Blakemore takes a look at what will become of the former site of Merci Boutique.
A pop-up retail store opened back in April by 2 downtown clothing store owners as a way to raise money for local charities. With the store now closed after raising about $5,000 in only 5 months, the entire building is now vacant. Many are now anxious for what will come next to this location.
With the closure of the pop-up store, it actually provides a great opportunity for a new permanent retail or other type of service to go into that location.
The location of the building is directly next to Ponchero's off Clinton and Washington Street. This is where the highest traffic occurs in all of downtown, according to the executive director for Iowa City's downtown district, Nancy Bird.
So I know the building owner has been very patient and looking for the right opportunity, the right tenant to go into that location because it really is sort of a gold mine. So I think everyone's anticipating something great for that location.
On Monday, they are going to begin the renovation of the building where the pop-up store, Merci, used to be located at, right off of Clinton and Washington Street. They are hoping to renovate it for a new retail store to be coming in and for 2 new lofts to be created upstairs.
They're not set up for students. They're more for a professional there'll be 2, 1 each level. So there'll be 1 on the 3rd floor, 1 on the 2nd floor.
And they hope to have the renovation completed by August 1st. Whitney Blakemore, Daily Iowan TV.
We'll also have more of this story in Friday's issue of the Daily Iowan.
The Johnson County Board of Supervisors voted 3-1 on Thursday to explore the idea of regionalizing the county's mental health care system. This means there would be an Eastern Iowa hub for mental health care created by an alliance of 9 counties. Local reactions seem to be split on the move. While some lawmakers see regionalizing mental health as efficient and inevitable, others say it will make it even harder for clinics to give people individual care.
Deteriorating roads in Iowa City and the state of Iowa are becoming commonplace as state fuel tax numbers are leveling while the cost of repairs are rising. Fuel tax revenue isn't decreasing. The state made approximately $444 million last year alone, but construction costs and wages are rising. Transportation departments are also beginning to look at more day-to-day operations as opposed to long-term projects. The fuel tax is the second largest component in funding road repairs, which means state and local lawmakers are now looking for any possible solution to the problem. In Iowa City, a hypothetical 10-cent raise to the fuel tax would add about 18% to the Iowa City road repair budget. And still to come on Daily Iowan TV, Library Makeover. We'll tell you what UI students will eventually gain from the construction currently clogging the library.
And in sports, we'll get you ready for a big weekend in Hawkeye sports with our Thursday evening Black and Gold calendar.
But first, we're going back to Nick Safransky, who's now back in the studio. And Nick, just because tomorrow, Friday, is a new day, doesn't mean the snow is going to stop, right?
Yeah, Ian, on Friday morning, there's still a 90% chance of snow still falling. Temperatures will stay low enough that it should still be snowing Friday afternoon, too, before it finally lets up tomorrow night, in conjunction with a high of 21. Looking at your extended forecast, only one more snow date is possible. That's Monday, but first the weekend will be partly cloudy on both Saturday and Sunday. The temperature should reach over freezing on Sunday and Monday before warming up majorly on Tuesday with a high of 43. By next Wednesday, we could be feeling the very beginnings of spring with a high of 39 and more cloudy days. That's a look at your extended local forecast, and stay safe and warm during the snowstorm, everybody. Back to you, Ian and Kelsey.
Thanks again, Nick. And Maine Library staffers stress the importance of students in the design behind the new University of Iowa Learning Commons. Officials spoke about the project during a press conference on Thursday. Students entering the library have probably noticed the noise of construction of the Learning Commons. This 24-hour study space aims at flexibility, comfort, and advanced technology.
There's an insatiable demand for small group study space, just for small groups to meet, or flexible furniture where you can form a group and then unform and form again in all kinds of different configurations.
After spending 3 years observing student study habits and visiting other study facilities, the design team came up with a space tailored to UI student needs. The space will include group study rooms, laptops, desktop computers, and a new Food for Thought cafe. The overall goal of the new Learning Commons is to have a study environment that will actually help study habits. The project is expected to be completed this fall.
In some news just outside of Iowa City, a pilot transporting 55 pounds of marijuana from California to the East Coast was foiled on Tuesday morning in Washington, Iowa, which is about 45 minutes south of Iowa City. The man stopped at the Washington Municipal Airport to refuel, but local police had received a federal tip to search his plane. A dog alerted police as to the drugs' whereabouts on the scene. The amount of marijuana confiscated has an estimated street value of $22,000 or more.
And a big weekend in Hawkeye sports is coming up with Winter Conference Championship season officially here. Let's go over to Daily Iowan TV Sports' Alyssa Bergamini.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. A whole lot coming up for you on this Thursday edition of the program as we get you ready for a jam-packed weekend of Hawkeye athletics. But we start today in the pool where a number of Hawkeye swimmers made a splash in the Twin Cities on day one of the Big Ten Swimming and Diving Championships. 2 school records were broken at the University Aquatic Center in Minneapolis Wednesday night. The first came when sophomore Heather Arseth, juniors Caroline Wardalowski and Abby Tushire, and freshman Olivia Kabaninski touched the wall at just over 1 minute and 40 seconds in the 200 medley relay final in a season best time. Kabaninski, along with fellow sophomore Becky Stoughton and juniors Emily Horvan and Lindsay Seaman, reset the school record in the 800 freestyle record clocking at just under 7 minutes and 15 seconds. The Hawkeyes currently sit in the 9th place heading into the weekend. And even the regional and national action on the schedule for the Hawks. And to get you ready for everything black and gold, why don't we toss it over to our own Alicia Denez, standing by at the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio with our weekend calendar. Alicia?
That's right, a whole lot of black and gold this weekend and a lot of sporting events right here in Iowa City. Starting Friday, the women's gymnastics will be hosting Minnesota at 7 p.m. and then the women's tennis team earlier that day will host Oklahoma at 3 p.m. Saturday they have Marquette, and then the wrestling squad will actually be in Minneapolis taking on Cornell at 8 p.m. And then Saturday they have their NWCA national duels, and then we'll have a lot of Hawkeyes around the nation for our weekend events. Baseball will be in Corpus Christi. They have 3 games starting Friday with Oklahoma. Saturday they're taking on New Mexico, and then Sunday Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. Now the softball team will have 5 games from Friday to Sunday in Alabama. The women's golf team will be in Arizona having the Westbrook Spring Invitational. The men and women's track team has their Big Ten championships in Ohio. And last but not least, the women's swimming and diving team has their Big Ten championships also in Minneapolis. They started last Wednesday. Now they're going to go all the way to Sunday. That's all for your black and gold calendar. Back to you in the studio.
Some additional information to add before we wrap things up here in the studio. The Iowa wrestling team has earned the number 2 seed for this weekend's duels in the Twin Cities, taking on Cornell in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, as we mentioned earlier this week, Fran McCaffrey's Hawkeyes will take on the Cornhuskers of Nebraska in a game rescheduled to Saturday afternoon due to weather. A programming note for our viewers, the game will no longer be broadcasted on ESPN2 as originally scheduled. Instead, a live stream will be available on Big Ten Network to go from the video board in the arena. And Saturday's game in Lincoln is of course crucial to the Hawks' chances of making the dance come March. A big part of the team's success this year, it's depth. Something McCaffrey spoke to the media about earlier this week.
A lot of teams hit walls this time of year, 2/3 into a conference season. Why have you not?
Because of our depth. You know, and it's a great thing for me personally because I have typically played a short bench. You know, I've said that over and over. My head coaching stops, I've played 7. Like I always say, sometimes I play 7.5. You know, they'll play one guy a little bit depending upon the situation. But I'm playing 10 every night, and I am not uncomfortable going to 11.
One player who has been huge on the bench for McCaffrey's has been the team's lone senior, Eric May. After struggling to make an impact earlier in the year, May has rebounded, something noticed by his head coach.
This guy, he's just playing so well. I mean, he's doing everything. He's handling the ball, he's making passes, he's in the press, he's rebounding in traffic, he's hitting threes, he's dunking the ball, he's stealing the ball. I mean, what can you say about him? He's arguably playing better than anybody else we have right now.
Well, that's all from us here in the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. Be sure to tune in back Sunday for our weekly courtside program, as well as throughout the week for part 2 of our sit-down with former Hawkeye defensive back Micah Hyde, and full coverage from another busy weekend in Hawkeye athletics. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Alyssa. And before we wrap up the show tonight, we want to give a quick congratulations to the approximately 4,000 students named to the Dean's List for the fall semester.
Yeah, the university announced yesterday that 4,000 students, roughly, achieved a 3.5 GPA or higher while enrolled in at least 12 semester hours. And from the Dean's List to our list of Friday's headlines in the pages of the Daily Iowan, you can see what culinary creations were on display at the IMU Thursday afternoon.
Also, read about one medical student's crusade to have the Carver College of Medicine help students with tuition. That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Check us out anytime at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.